How are you guys doing? It is Tuesday, July 28th, 2020, out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to get into the baseball games that happened last night. Last night was Monday night. There weren't even WNBA games, and some of the games got delayed. But I'll walk you through the elite players, the elite athletes, and the elite performances that happened last night and take you through what I think were some of the best. Starting out in the West, going into the American League, the Oakland A's hosted the Los Angeles Angels for the fourth time. This time they completely held them scoreless, 3-0. As the Angels, they were able to put up 9 hits and they weren't able to score once. Mike Trout finished 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts on the day. Designated hitter Shohei Ohtani finished 0 for 4. Not necessarily a super good game for the Angels, but on the other side of the A's, Matt Chapman did finish 3 for 4 with an RBI on the day. Ended up with a really big RBI double earlier in the game, but they scored 2 of their runs in the third, 1 in the fourth, and now the A's are sitting at 3-1 in the American League West, which gives them a good amount of standing, and they are now currently tied with the Houston Astros, who currently just came off of a win against the Seattle Mariners at home to finish off that series. Elite second baseman Jose Altuve would finish 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs, one of them being his first home run of the year. Additionally, their third baseman Alex Bregman would finish 1 for 3 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs, as his only hit of the game was a 3-run home run that helped give the Astros the edge. The Mariners almost came back late, but the Astros proved too much for the Mariners, especially at this time. Now the Astros are sitting at 3-1 atop the American League West alongside the Oakland Athletics. And moving to the National League West, the Padres went on to host the Diamondbacks for the final game of their series, in which the San Diego Padres were able to score 5 runs in the fourth, which would give them the 6-2 win. Overall, their shortstop Fernando Tatis would finish 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs on the day, no runs. Their third baseman Manny Machado would finish 1 for 3 with a walk on the day. And now the San Diego Padres currently sit alone atop the National League West. Now moving to the Central, going to the American League. The Kansas City Royals would face off against the Detroit Tigers for the first game in their series. In this one, the Kansas City Royals would put on 6 runs in the fourth, which would lead to them eventually scoring 14 runs on the Detroit Tigers. Their second baseman, Whit Merrifield, would finish 3 for 5 with 3 runs and 3 RBIs, as he would go on to finish a triple shy of the cycle. And on the other side, the Tigers were really trying to get it done, but they just simply weren't. They weren't able to keep up with the 13 hits and 14 runs that the Royals were able to put on. Now both teams are even in the American League Central, currently tied at 2-2. Now switching over to the National League Central, as the Cubs faced off against the Reds for the first time this season, this time in Cincinnati. The Chicago Cubs were able to score 6 runs in the first 2 innings, and the Reds scored all 7 of their runs following the first 5. After John Lester came out, and John Lester was able to pitch 5 innings, only struck out 1, but he allowed no hits. He had the best pitching performance of the day. As like I said, he was able to keep the Cincinnati Reds hitless through 5, and once he went out there, they were able to score 7 runs in the 4 innings that they didn't play. Chris Bryant would start at left field, and he would eventually finish 0 for 3, but he walked once. He still finished with 2 runs on the day. Additionally, their shortstop, Javi Baez, would finish 1 for 5 with an RBI for the Chicago Cubs as well. Joey Votto for the Cincinnati Reds would finish 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs, as he tried to do what he could. But right now, the Chicago Cubs are currently 3-1 and sitting atop the National League Central. And also the other matchup that happened in the National League Central was between the Brewers and the Pirates in Pittsburgh, where the Pirates had a 5-1 lead going into the 9th. The Milwaukee Brewers were able to lead a comeback, which led to what I believe was the play of the game, where they were down by 2 with 2 outs, runners on second and third. Ryan Braun was able to hit a ball down the left field line, and he was able to bring both those runs home. He was able to send them into extra innings, where eventually Sogard, as the pinch hitter, would have the game-winning RBI to help the Brewers win over the Pirates. The Brewers left fielder Christian Yelich would finish 0 for 5. He still finished with an RBI and a walk. And for now, following this, the Brewers are sitting at 2-2 in the National League Central, and the Pirates are sitting at 1-3. Now we're transitioning to the National League East, American League East showdowns. First of which happened between Washington and Toronto, where the Toronto Blue Jays came into Washington and beat them 4-1. They let the Nats get 11 hits, but they were only able to score one time. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. would finish 0 for 4, and their center fielder, Teoscar Hernandez, would finish 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit 2 solo home runs to help the Toronto Blue Jays get this win. And now the Toronto Blue Jays are sitting at 2-2 in the American League East, and the Nationals now fall to 1-3 in the National League East. Moving on to the second game that happened that day between the Atlanta Braves and the Tampa Bay Rays. The Tampa Bay Rays would go on to score 8 runs in the 4th inning as they ended up beating the Atlanta Braves 14-5. Tyler Glasnow would only pitch 4 innings, allowing 1 hit and 1 earned run, striking out 9 of the 12 outs that he had were strikeouts. Impressive in the 4 innings that he played. Right fielder Ronald Acuna would finish 1 for 4 with a run on the day and 3 strikeouts. Second baseman Ozzie Albies would finish 0 for 4 with a run. Freddie Freeman would finish 1 for 2 with the second RBI of the day for the Braves. Forgive me. Matt Adams would finish 1 for 4 with 3 RBIs with a 3-run home run on the day. Going to the Tampa Bay Rays, their right fielder Hunter Renfroe would finish with what I believe was the best hitting performance of the game, where he finished 3 for 5 with 2 runs, and he had 4 RBIs on the day. He had 2 home runs, one being a solo shot, and the other being a 3-run home run. When it was all said and done, the Rays were too much of the Braves as they beat them by 9 runs. The Braves are now 2-2 in the National League East, and Tampa Bay is now 3-1, sitting atop the American League East, additionally. And going on to the last matchup of the night between the New York Mets and the Boston Red Sox. The matchup would be between Michael Wacha, previously of the St. Louis Cardinals, and it would be against Josh Osich of the Boston Red Sox. And the Mets would score all 7 of their runs within the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th inning. As Pete Alonso was able to add his first home run of the year, he finished 1 for 5 with 1 run and 2 RBIs on the day, naturally. And going on to Boston, they weren't really able to get it going. And now Boston falls to 1-3 in the American League East, and the Mets are now 2-2, situated in the middle of the National League East. Now going into the standings, starting off with the American League. Looking at the American League East, the Tampa Bay Rays currently sit atop the American League East by themselves at 3-1. The Baltimore Orioles and the New York Yankees at 2-1 are a half a game behind them. Sitting behind them is the 2-2 Toronto Blue Jays. And then the Boston Red Sox are currently sitting in last place in the American League East, two full games behind the Tampa Bay Rays. Looking at the American League Central, the Cleveland Indians and the Minnesota Twins at 2-1 still are tied for the top of the American League Central. The Detroit Tigers and Kansas City Royals are second at 2-2, and the White Sox are currently last in the AL Central with a 1-2 record. Moving out to the American League West, the Houston Astros and the Oakland A's both have the lead, are tied at 3-1. The Texas Rangers are 1-2, so currently 1.5 games behind, and the LA Angels and the Seattle Mariners are now tied in last in the American League West at 1-3. Going to the National League East, the Miami Marlins currently sit by themselves atop the National League East. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be saying this. The Atlanta Braves and the New York Mets are currently tied at second in the National League East at 2-2, sitting at 500. The Philadelphia Phillies are 1-2. They are half a game behind the Braves and the Mets, a full game behind the Marlins, and the Washington Nationals are sitting at last in the NL East at 1-3, a game and a half behind the Marlins. Moving to the National League Central, the Cubs are sitting at the top, 3-1. The St. Louis Cardinals are second. They're half a game behind them at 2-1. The Milwaukee Brewers are currently third in the National League Central, sitting 1 game behind the Cubs. Then the Cincinnati Reds and the Pittsburgh Pirates are tied for last, both 1-3 in the National League Central. In the NL West, the San Diego Padres hold the current lead, as once again they're sitting atop. The Colorado Rockies are second, sitting at 2-1, half a game behind the Padres. The Dodgers and the Giants are tied for third at 2-2, both a full game behind the Padres, and the Arizona Diamondbacks are 1-3, currently sitting at 2 games behind the San Diego Padres. And with this, that's the current situation with what's going on in the major leagues. The WNBA didn't even play yesterday, but those I think were the scores. That was what was going on with sports, especially yesterday. And I would personally, I'll repeat my awards for last night. As I said, the best hitter to me went to Hunter Renfroe for his 2 home run performance and him adding on to the Rays 14-5 demolishment of the Atlanta Braves. Additionally, the best pitching performance yesterday went to John Lester, who gave up no hits in his 5 innings against the Reds. They scored 7 runs yesterday, but that was after he sat. And I would say the play of the game went to Ryan Braun, who had that really big hit for the Brewers down the stretch. And that was yesterday. That was Monday, July 27th. That was that day of baseball. And then looking into what's going on today, the first game of the day will be the White Sox Indians, as they have the 3:40 slot all by themselves. The Yankees will play the Phillies at 6 o'clock. I'm watching the Braves and the Rays game at 6:40 as Kyle Wright makes his start against Chirinos. Additionally, there's going to be some other really big games as the Dodgers take on the Astros in a World Series rematch from a couple years ago. Additionally, other than those, not any crazy matchups, but there should be a lot of really, really good baseball. And today, also, the WNBA picks back up. And I believe the NFL Top 100 is going to keep listing names. So with that, I appreciate you for hearing me out for what's going on today. I hope you keep an eye out for what's going on, especially with what's going on with sports today. I thank you for hearing my piece, and peace out. I wish everyone well.